And the day after my last day, do you want to know how short-staffed we were? There was no adult in my classroom.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Sid.
Hey, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm so
Welcome,
good.
everybody, to the podcast.
Would you believe podcast? Woo,
I
woo.
know. What is the title of this podcast, actually?
Would you believe?
Would you believe?
Yeah, like, would
Oh.
you believe how hard it is to be an adult?
Oh, thank God. Okay, so you said, would you believe?
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I wouldn't believe. And then I was just like rolling with that sentence structure.
Oh, yeah.
But then that was the actual title of the podcast.
Yeah.
So
Would
thank
you believe?
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. That's just part of, like, adulting. Next time we get together, let's do, like, a taste testing from snacks around the world.
Oh, yeah. That's actually not a bad idea.
I have those.
We have in Baltimore here, you could do taste testing of crab cakes, which is the big thing here. Or we could do Natty Bow, which is the local light beer here, the local light lager.
So, fun fact, I actually hate beer.
Oh, that's sad.
I think it tastes like urine.
Oh, no, it does.
Like, I never got into it.
Oh,
I have
man.
one wine that I like.
Sure.
It's like when I drink wine, I want to feel like I'm drinking grape juice.
So you drink Moscato?
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yes. I was literally at my friend Lizzie's birthday party at a restaurant and they were trying to give me wine. And I was like, you don't want to give me this. I'm not going to like it. I'm just going to hurt someone's feelings. Because people who love wine, love wine.
Yeah. So my sister, God bless her heart, is she has this weird thing where she'll have like one drink and then just be and for like 30 minutes falling on the ground. Like, it's hilarious. And I didn't know this until recently. And I saw it happen. I was like, this is crazy. So she doesn't drink a lot either. So whenever we go out, it's like, okay, so what do you want to drink? She's like, I don't know about that. So I understand why you might not like it because it's like crazy.
Do you think that like your tolerance gets worse as you get older as an adult?
I think your liver deteriorates.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that your liver deteriorates and just goes down, 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 I think that's where the hangovers
that
come
makes
from.
Sense.
So because like people get liver spots, people and I thought about this because of Scarface, ironically enough. Because he's sitting around the table and he's just like mad and he's like, this is the entire life. Like all we do is just drink and smoke and and I was like, oh yeah, the liver just kind of gets older and deteriorates. That's why people get hangovers.
That's why people can't party like they
exactly.
used to. My brother always makes me, like, whenever I go out, and I don't really anymore because I'm lame. But when I did, my brother would always make me, with every drink that I drank, I would also have to drink a cup of water.
That's very nice.
Every time. Yeah, my brother
nice.
took care of me.
Yeah.
And so I would never get hungover because, like, if you have one cup of water with every drink that you drink, like, you'll be fine in the morning.
Yeah.
Because what really makes you so hungover, what makes you so hungovery, yes, I love that word, is the dehydration. Yeah. Because, like, the alcohol dehydrates you and...
Yeah, I mean, you wake up, you wake up and you feel like sandpaper.
Yes.
And that's not a good feeling.
No.
My brother's not that nice. One time I was
sad.
18 years old and I had my mom had this rule of like, if you can serve my country, you can drink in the house, right? So we got really, really drunk. I was 18 and it was Thanksgiving weekend and my brother shaved my head before I had to go to Thanksgiving dinner at my then girlfriend's house. And so my brother's not that nice. Wonderful person, not that nice. He's a complete what am I saying? what am I saying? No, he's a complete
Did you ever get along like as kids?
Yeah, I would say so. We are like 7 years apart. So
okay, are you older or younger?
He's older than me. So
and he shaved your head?
Oh yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. How old were you?
I was 18 and he was 25, 26.
A 26-year-old grown man was like, you know what I'm gonna do?
And shave your head.
He said,
but he did. Here's the thing. He did say, if you get drunk tonight, I'm going to shave your head. And I was like, fine, you. And then I got drunk. We were watching.
What kind of an ultimatum is that?
We were watching Transformers. Anyway, that's what my family was like. That's what I grew up in.
See, okay, my brother and I, like, we did not get along when we were younger at all.
You're older or younger?
I'm older.
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Got it.
Older sister energy.
Nice.
100%.
Nice.
We were at each other's throats.
Sure, absolutely.
Like when I was 10, my friend and I would like tie him up with a jump rope and put makeup on him.
Sure, yeah.
And then my mom started him in karate.
Yeah. That's smart.
And I'll never forget the one time after my brother started karate that we like tried to like mess with him. He knocked the wind out of my stomach.
Ooh,
and I was just like on the ground.
Whoa.
Like, oh! Like,
whoa.
Yeah.
That
like
is impressive.
He got me good.
Dang, I mean, wow.
And now my brother and I are very close.
Sure.
Like we're very close friends.
Yeah.
My brother like thinks it's so funny to tell people how I tormented him as children.
Yeah.
And now
Because he's bigger than you now too.
He is.
Yeah.
He's still a short king.
He is.
He is a short king.
Oh wow. He had a little he looked sorry.
No, it's okay.
We're friends on the internet.
Yeah,
so
we're actual real life friends.
Going, yeah. I was looking, I was like, oh yeah, he looks like my height. Like 5'8", 5'9".
You might have been I think Ethan's 5'5",
okay.
but Avery's 6'3".
Well, yeah, Avery's 6'3". Yeah. But I thought I mean maybe just proportionally.
Well, I'm also 5 exact. So like
Exactly.
anyone next to me who doesn't like just acknowledge, oh, you're short, will look tall.
I found out, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but I found out that my therapist was 5 feet flat.
Yeah.
And I had to like stop the session. I was like, whoa. I did not think that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's short.
Like that's like, yeah, I don't know. She just like, because she's also like really, anyway. But it was like two sessions where I was like, listen, just got to clear the air because I did not think you were tiny. And then she was like, it's fine. I totally get it.
Right.
I was like, that's why I'm a therapist. I was like, thank you so much.
Well, like I will say, like I'm 5 feet tall. Are there cabinets in my house that I cannot reach? Absolutely.
Well,
Do I have stools in my home? 100%.
Absolutely.
Do I use them? No.
Yeah, Avery's there.
I don't need a man.
I don't need no man.
Excuse me.
He's 6'3".
Yes. Well, my mom will specifically save tasks at her house for like when Avery comes over.
Sure.
But I will just hop up on the counter in my bare feet.
Sure.
And like jungle gym it up to whatever cabinet that I need because, you got to be resourceful.
Sure.
And that's my adult
I mean, that's
decision.
Smart. You're a cat.
You got life hacks.
You're a life hack. Life hack. Confirmed. Bonk. And that's why I'm here, everyone. Talk about life hacks.
Yeah. Adulting is just hard.
Yeah.
But like you start, like all of your content is things that I didn't know before I was 30.
True.
How did that start? Because like your series saves my life.
Yeah.
So
So Sid Raz on the internet. What's up? Follow me. Please subscribe. And even though my YouTube channel is not working right now,
please help. He has a daughter.
Please help. Please send supers.
He has to give her Hanukkah presents.
Please send supers. Please. Yeah, so really just how it started was me walking around thinking like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. I wonder if anyone else doesn't know that too.
Like that's my everyday life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just sort of one of those things where once you become a certain age, you sort of like learn I think what happens is things are sort of like reinvented and updated, right?
Yeah.
And you sort of like learn how to use the thing that wasn't really important before because either your parents were doing it so they didn't worry about it, they just didn't want you to like die, which is super helpful.
Do you have an example?
Oh geez. I do have one. I would say I think the can opener one is probably the one that's
what's
like...
the can opener one?
So the can opener one is if you put it on top, it works. You're supposed to put it on top, on the flat part.
The can opener on top on the flat part?
Like if you put the can opener horizontal to the... parallel to the can top and then not on the side. So like if you turn it on the side, it doesn't open that good. But if you put it on top and then you twist it around, that's how you do it. Yeah. I was planning to do a video with you about that, so now it's ruined.
Oh, no. We can I can put on a really good
Pretend.
What?
No way. Anyway.
I didn't know this. No, I love that.
Yeah. There's that one and then there's also just like different types of spatulas. I didn't know spatulas were different.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What do you mean spatulas are different?
So there's a lot of different types of spatulas in the kitchen. There's the there's like the rubber spatula, which is like used for baking and getting things out and like folding the cheese.
How do you do that? How do you fold in the cheese?
Exactly. You tell me.
You just fold it in.
You just fold it in. So that's a spatula.
Okay.
The second one is, I can hear my daughter out there, everyone. The second
Dad mode went, I heard a bang.
The second one is just the regular spatula that you think of, right? And the third one is the fish spatula. That's a type of spatula, which is like different serrated. But they're all spatulas. I didn't know that the rubber one was a spatula. I thought it was just like
like the baking spatula.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's a spatula.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's one of those things where it has the name spatula, but I've never actually categorized it into spatula.
Or when you learn like you're doing too much toothpaste or something, right? Like you're putting on too much toothpaste probably. You don't need to put it on the whole thing. You just put it, it's like a dollop, like a dot. Or laundry detergent.
Unless,
that's another one.
I've learned that if you're doing like sensitive teeth toothpaste, you do need more.
There you go.
Because it doesn't lather the same way.
Smart.
Because so I have this thing called perioral dermatitis where like I'm allergic to fluoride.
Oh.
Do you know how much fluoride is in different water systems in different states? Because let me tell you, it hasn't been.
Did you feel it immediately?
Like the next day, I'll just be in so much pain. Whoa. Like when I came back from New York, I spent an entire day in agonizing pain. My face hurt so badly because I get like this giant red rash.
Oh yeah, I saw that happen.
Yeah,
I remember when that happened. Yeah,
that's perioral dermatitis. That's what that was. I'm allergic to fluoride.
Because you were bright red too, right?
100. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. It gets on your chin, your eyelids, like right under your nose. So like, fun fact, there's fluoride in everything.
Yeah, everything.
So when you're using, so I use like Sensodyne and stuff because it has like less fluoride.
Yeah.
And you have to use more or it won't lather.
Is that why it's sensitive? Because there's less fluoride in it?
I think it might be. I don't actually know like what makes it sensitive. I know that fluoride's like not really great for you.
Sure.
I know that fluoride is good for your teeth, but nothing else.
Yeah. And put fluoride in all the water.
Yeah.
What else? What else is a good one? I think like.
Ooh, my mom has a really good one of like making cakes healthier.
How?
She substitutes oil with applesauce.
Oh.
So like instead of half a cup of vegetable oil, you put half a cup of applesauce, and that is like a slight way to make it like a little bit healthier.
It's interesting. I thought you were going to go. So for Passover, if you do it, I think like a bunch of eggs acts as like a rise.
Oh.
So you don't have to use like all the gluten and rise it with the wheat. Yeah. I think.
I'm going to have to try that.
Double check me on that.
I saw your one about spiders, about putting like the soap.
That was crazy. Seal. I literally killed a spider. I didn't mean to. I love spiders now. I used to hate them. And I murdered a friend. And I felt so bad. Did you know that Avery won't let me kill spiders in the house? Oh, really? Yeah, he's very much of like he wants to capture it and put it outside. Sure. And I'm like, it's just going to come back. Sweet soul. Well, so that was crazy. Yeah. So basically, it's Irish Spring is what they are not a sponsor of this episode, but Irish Spring. If they want to be. Yeah, if they want to be. Hey, let me know. They basically, it's a very high fragrance thing. So really what it is that like a fragrancy material keeps like insects at bay, away from windowsills, away from, I mean, you could use it for anything, but the Irish Spring like green hardcore one is like the best one to use. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And like all of these tips and tricks are so important because you know what's like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life? Go on. Live. Yeah. I thought you were going to say taxes, but yeah. That's even. Live is a good one. Like I don't even really understand taxes. That's why I have someone that does it. Yeah, me too. That's why I think that life hacks get to a point where it's like, this isn't a life hack. You're just crafting something that you could have bought, right? Like 5-minute crafts doesn't make any sense to me. No. But they're one of the most followed everywhere because people watch their content and they're going through all this stuff. Not going to talk about analytics right now, but. People watch their stuff, right? But it's not life hacks. Some of them can be. Some of them you're like, all right, that's a pretty good one. Right. But most of the time, it doesn't make any sense. So with me, they're always like simple, quick things that you can do. And I showcase that. Easier. Yeah. And I showcase that in that 30-second block. And that's where people are like, oh, it was that easy? It's like, yeah, it is. It's that easy. Just turn the neck pillow around. Whoa. And people just lose their minds. And well, because we overcomplicate so much in life, you know, and there are such simple
ways to do things that, like, because life in general is so complicated. We assume there's got to be a difficult answer for everything.
Sometimes there just isn't.
And it's just not.
Sometimes the life hack doesn't work either, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes you should just go buy a new can opener.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or, well, I know one problem that so many people have, and I've been to so many creators' houses, and like there's fruit flies everywhere.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Which are so annoying. And I know
Classic.
that they have those little things that you can buy on Amazon that's like the little sticky
lights,
lights, or like the little apple thing. You know, you can just get a little long container and pour like apple cider vinegar in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to do a splash of dish soap.
Yes.
And that's it.
Classic.
That's all that you need. And
Yeah.
like the dish soap kind of changes the buoyancy of the surface tension so that they can't just sit on top of it and they sink, which is kind of morbid to think about.
I think you can do that with like red wine too. Or that's
Really?
like gnats. Yeah. So if you pour like if you put like poke a hole of cellophane and like put it over a bowl and some red wine or some red wine vinegar in there, you can just catch them all. Yeah.
I don't have red wine because I don't like wine.
Well, because you don't like wine.
Yeah. So I didn't know that, but that's fascinating.
Yeah. It's just like something sweet. Also, you could... something I learned from the podcast that I was doing was that you can make like a bowl for the bugs and they'll just go to that bowl and then they'll just like stop annoying you. So like you could just make a plate for them and they'll just go away.
Interesting.
That blew my mind when I heard that.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so like if you're at a picnic or something, you can like make a wasp plate and then they'll just go to that one because they know that's the one that no one's going to annoy them with.
My mind is blown.
Isn't that crazy?
My mind is blown.
Isn't like
right now.
That is insane. Like, of course that's the answer. Just make a plate for them and they'll go to that one.
Because they're smart. Like, they're kind of in their own way.
I mean, they're stupid, but it's like, or one of the ones that I also learned from Jordan, the Stallion 8 recently.
I love him.
Great guy.
He's so sweet.
He said, and corroborated it, don't squish the ant because then the pheromones from the ant, they come get the ant, so you'll get more ants. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Crazy. And then I had a whole line of ants going from the outside to my kitchen where my daughter had dropped some food and I didn't clean it up in time.
No, you have to, like, if you do squish it, you have to like wipe it with water to like wipe the scent and stuff away.
So then I sprayed it, right? I sprayed the whole thing with that non-toxic spray and I didn't squish any. And then all of a sudden there's no more ants.
Yeah. Or you get like the little
blew my mind.
What is it? The little I can't remember what it's called, but it's the little trap thing, like it's like this liquid and it's like a sugary...
those yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're fantastic.
They're like, get them off Amazon. They're so good.
Yeah.
And it just brings it back to the colony and then it's all like
incredible.
It's all taken care of.
I know. One of those melted on my windowsill once because it was so hot.
Oh.
Oops.
But how old are you?
35.
You're 35. Okay, so you have been adulting more than me.
Yeah, so when I say here's something I didn't know until I was in my 30s, people assume that I just turned 30.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm 35.
You've had experience in your 30s.
I've had experience in my 30s, and technically, I've been in my 30s for a little bit longer. So it's like, it's always like that sentence is like, it would probably hold up in court. Kind of thing, you know. Everyone's like, oh, but like, how long have you really been in your 30s? Or like, there's no way you didn't know this until your 30s. It's like, technically, maybe if I've known it for maybe 5 years, I just haven't recorded it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's okay, and that's all right.
Exactly, content.
What do you think has been like the most, like, you've been adulting for quite a long time.
Yes.
What do you think is the most difficult aspect of that? Like what is like
pre-daughter?
Pre and post daughter, yeah.
Pre and post daughter.
There are a lot of adults that have kids and a lot of adults that don't have kids.
I think the hardest thing about adulting would probably just like a very existential answer. Just learning about yourself is really terrible. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
There's that. But then also, I think taking care of yourself is pretty difficult because you're just like, oh God, I have to like do the dishes every day.
Right.
Or like I have to like eat every day.
Yes. That's the worst thing ever is deciding what to eat.
Yeah.
And like,
Dinner's the worst one to
I hate making decisions.
Dinner's the
I don't
worst.
like decisions.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through all day and figure out what you want to eat, what you're hungry for, what you need for that, and then take time to do that, and then clean up, and then you got to do the whole thing over again tomorrow.
Yeah. I think getting through FOMO is a big one too.
Yeah.
Just like having to deal with that, like, oh man, like what am I gonna miss if I don't go out tonight? And then you get through it and you look back and you're just like, whoa, that was not worth it. Or
how have you dealt with like major FOMO, especially because like now that you have a daughter, like they're
I have crazy FOMO. I'm a FOMO king. When my daughter was born, it was the first Halloween, so just about this time last year. She was like 2 months old.
Oh.
And she required a lot of attention, and she still does.
As newborns do.
As newborns do. Yeah, as babies do. They're squishy spined creatures.
Yeah.
So cute though.
They're so cute.
So cute. She's cute right now.
She's perfect.
She's amazing. But I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where my buddies were out. I saw like pictures of this really cool like installation of like a dragon. It was, I mean, Los Angeles, they're crazy.
They find weird stuff to do every day. Yeah.
But so I just kind of had like this existential crisis of like, oh my God, like I will never go, like this is no longer me time. It's like, what do I need to do for my daughter's time? So the way I dealt with it is just it's just like, think about like, all right, dude, like, well, you're not going to be hungover in the morning. That's pretty cool. Or you're not really missing anything, because like I spent a long time going out, like over 10 years going out, and it was just, it got kind of boring because like nothing really changes.
Yeah.
And I never know what's gonna happen with my daughter, like ever. And I can plan it, but then like even today, like I was about to text you and just be like, dude, she's not sleeping, so I don't know if I can make it. So but she's fine. She's giggling outside right now, and it's very cute.
Very sweet.
What else?
Children
What else is like really? What's your least favorite thing about adulting? Is it the food thing?
I think for me, I'm so bad at making decisions.
Sure.
So I think like being your own person who has to like make my own decisions about everything all the time. Like I always get very paranoid about, is this the right decision? Is this like what a regular mature adult would do? Because like I'm 27, you know, and it feels so weird. Like I'm going to be 28 in a few months. That's crazy to me because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing at all.
Yeah. Are you ready for your reunion?
I haven't even heard from anyone about that. Like I don't even know.
You're probably the most successful one from your high school, though, right?
We
2 million subscribers on YouTube.
We had a really big
3 million. Is it 3 million now?
No, it's not 3 million.
Just saying.
But bless. It's like, I guess there's a lot of people from my high school that like do not care at all about what I'm doing, which is fine.
Sure.
You know, like there are people from my high school who are on their third kid.
Wow.
And like that gives me a lot of anxiety because I don't feel like I'm responsible enough to have a child at all.
Yeah.
But like to them, they've made it. You know, they have these families, they have children, like they're establishing themselves in their community. Like I don't know, I'm never home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's more like, do I really want to go to my reunion? Yeah, because I would be really interested to see what everyone is doing, and I'd be really interested to see if anyone from my high school even knows what I'm doing.
The biggest part of going to your high school reunion is like, do I make more money than you?
Is it really?
Yo, God, I didn't go because I was broke. I did not go because I was like, listen, I can't afford to go. I should not be doing this. And I think you're winning.
Thanks.
And I would say that even if someone is like a new lawyer or whatever, because like 28, like people are like just getting out of grad school or whatever. They're like,
my friend Sarah is still in grad school. My friend Sarah is one of the smartest people that I know. I brag about her a lot. It's only fitting that I also brag about her on my podcast.
Sure.
She graduated college
she
early.
Rules.
She does. She is at Duke getting her PhD trying to cure staph infection.
Sure.
Like
as you do.
Like super casual.
Yeah.
And I always joke with her because like we do content creation.
Mm-hmm.
And like when we're at VidCon or when we're in like LA or anything like that, tensions can be so high. Like today, podcast stuff was stressing me out. But at the end of the day, like what we do really doesn't
Sure. But also
matter.
you had to coordinate with 5 different people.
Yes. Yes.
To get
yes, but at the same time, like Sarah's changing the world, man. You know? And it's not that I'm not knocking myself and I'm not knocking what we do, but it's more of like I really value the people in my life that ground me in that, like, Johnny Ross and I had this really funny discussion when we talked about like the beauty industry of like, it's just mascara, you're not saving lives,
right,
you know, like that kind of thing.
Well, we talked about this, I think about this a lot, was that what we do is a trade, right? So like what we do, like people that are good at their trade get paid a lot of money.
Yes.
So if you are a really good air conditioner repairman, if you're a really good appliance repair tech, as my good friend
really
Renee,
good way to think about
if you're a fantastic general contractor, that's your trade, and you get paid a lot of money for that.
You know what I'm really happy about
so
is like
we just have a trade.
I'm really happy that in the grand scheme of things, the idea of trades is like that much more acceptable and things like that. Because when we were growing up, it was so college.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have even said this before with you, but my brother dated this girl who was an elementary school teacher, and she taught at this charter school, and every single class had like a class college that they adopted their colors.
Oh yeah, you told me about this last time.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And elementary school.
Yes, elementary school kids like being college. And what I really disliked the most, like there's a lot of things I disliked about this, because first of all, college is not the answer for everybody.
Sure.
Like there are so many other paths that one can take that does not require college. And even today, people who go to college, most people don't use the degree that they got in college.
Yeah.
Like that's its own issue.
But you did, because you got a teaching degree.
Yeah, but I don't use it now. But like this was a inner city school where like these kids had fundamental needs that were not being met.
Right.
And I just thought it was so irresponsible to college when, you know, there are way more important things that these kids and their families are worrying about right now. The last thing, and like for some of them, great motivation.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But for some kids who are, their families are trying to put food on the table and their families just trying to, you know, make things work and get through the day to get to the next day, the last thing that they need is one more goal that they feel like, you know, am I going to be able to attain this? Like focus on the fundamental needs of like learning how to read in kindergarten, and learning how to share, and learning how to play with others. You know, you don't need to be learning about why you want to go to this college and why college is the only option in kindergarten.
Well, that kind of speaks to like why my content is so crazy for a lot of people, because I don't think that people necessarily like are geared towards learning certain things because there's so much attention to like college or like study
like how to like function. Yes
there's a lot more to do with like how do you figure out what your job is first when you're in kindergarten, rather than like here's what a spatula is or whatever. It's like, or also just like surviving, like
life skills in schools.
I don't know. People have been telling me recently, like, dude, you should teach a college class, or they should teach this in schools. They should teach this in schools is like the biggest comment that I would see. But no, I mean, it's just not. I also don't know if we would care. Like, it would be ridiculed maybe if we actually like taught people what spatulas were. Maybe in home ec you could do that, but like
I took home ec. I loved it.
Yeah, but like if you learned that there are different types of spatulas, that's crazy information to me. But yeah.
Well, like it's so interesting because there are classes like home ec, and they do exist, and they're not very popular electives. And even when you take them, so many people are like, oh, why are you taking that? Like, it is ridiculed, kind of.
Yeah.
But then we graduate, And so many people lack these basic life skills of how to function as an adult. And, why didn't they teach this at school?
It's like, because you didn't take home ec.
Right.
You took an elective about science theory.
But there also are really important things that, like, I don't want to say they really don't teach in school, because, like, I always get that, well, no one ever taught us about taxes in schools. That's not true.
Yeah.
I taught the class that teaches about taxes.
What's funny is that I think about that when it comes to, like, well, we don't have to do this anymore, but, like, balancing your checkbook.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that they taught us in school was, like, oh, you get a checkbook, and, like, here's how you balance it or whatever. Like, you write out your balance, you do the math, and then you whatever.
Yeah.
And you have to balance it once a week and all this stuff, right? You don't have to do that anymore because everything's online and everything's just a debit card, and it's fantastic. So thank God for that.
Makes it that much easier.
So I think that another big thing is, like, when you are a teenager or when you do, like, sort of come up in the world, you don't really care about those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who gives a shit about taxes at 13? No one.
I do wish, though, that they taught about, like, mortgages, and, did more with resume writing and just did more fundamental, like, it's so interesting because part of me is like, oh, some of these are things that should be taught in schools and should help prepare people for adult life, because I feel so unprepared. Yeah. But at the same time, there are some things that I'm like, I feel like it should be a parent's job, but I know not everyone also has that kind of support and has that kind of luxury. So it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I mean?
There's one thing from my brother and me, who they were, like, talking about how some parents get really hardcore about not letting their kids curse. And it's like, sure.
My mom.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. But also, like, maybe don't poop on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Like, which one really matters? Mm-hmm. And, like, so I think that when you're growing up, if also it's just, like, brain development. Like, is your brain developing enough where, like, you're going to remember certain things? Like, you're probably not. Like, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So it blows your mind more when I think, like, we come out of this, like, fog of, at least men, we come out of this, like, fog of our youth in our 20s. I mean, women thankfully develop earlier than us because your brains are better. But, like, it's one of those things where it's like all of a sudden you wake up from this, like, childhood fog and 20-something fog where you're just like, wait a second, what's a tax? Or, like, wait a second, what's a trash bag? That sort of thing. And I don't know, like, the big one recently is, like, there are numbers on the back of the tape measure to show you how big a tape measure is. Like, if a tape measure is, like, 3 inches long, then you don't have to bend it on the edge of a corner. You just look at the tape measure. It's like, oh, it's 3 inches plus 40. Oh, that's 43. Okay, cool. So that's how long this windowsill is, instead of, like, so bending it up and, like, having to hold it and all that shit. So, but, like, those sort of things you're, like, never doing as a youth. You're always calling your super. You're always calling your parents or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I think some of it has to do with, like, once your parents are gone, or once you, like, really are not around them enough, it's just sort of like how much more things you have to do.
Well, I think another part of it is because we were saying that so many people see your life hacks and they're just mind blown, right? Yeah. And I saw this meme that was like, young people are always asking, oh, what did you do before the internet? What did you do before you could look things up? And they were like, nothing. We did nothing.
Yeah.
We got misinformation from Aunt Carol and then carried that misinformation with us throughout life until somebody corrected us.
Yeah, exactly. And now you get misinformation from the internet. Which
feels
more valid somehow.
It does. Like, it's printed. It must be true.
I don't know how that works, but it's more valid.
I think one of the most shocking things as an adult is kind of realizing, like, oh, my parents were just as clueless.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I would always look at my parents. I'm like, they clearly know what they're doing. They clearly know everything in the world. Like, they're masters at this adulting thing. Yeah. And then I grow up and I'm like, oh, no.
No idea.
Like, I used to think that 18 was so old.
Yeah.
Like, I thought when I was in middle school, I thought 18-year-olds were grown-ups, man. They're grown-ups.
My brother was a grown-up, and he shaved my head.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
But, like, it's...
Bastard.
Have you ever met an adult that's like, no, I clearly have my life together? Because I don't think I have.
I mean, I think once we get old enough to be like, confronting our parents about sort of like, so like you also had no idea. I think they always like defend themselves and they're like, no, but like we did. I was like, guys, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I think maybe that's the closest that you could get to that.
My
But
parents
no, I
said
don't
that,
think
when I was born, they literally brought me home in the little carrier, set me on the kitchen table, looked at each other, and literally said out loud, now what?
Exactly. We did too. So you just sort of, you get to this point, and so we thought that it was like you have to stay awake for 24 hours.
What?
Yeah, I don't know why. So there were 3 of us. It was me, my mother-in-law, and my wonderful wife, and then my daughter. So we were like, okay, we'll each take an 8-hour shift. So we just thought that we like had to stay awake so someone could always watch the baby. But then it's like, but that's not sustainable, because then you'll leave and then I'm on a 12-hour shift. Like, what does that mean?
Right.
And it was just like this crazy thing. And also just like when you receive the baby and you're like in your like room for a couple of nights, the first thing that my wife and I sort of had that realization of was like, okay, so the baby's with us, the nurse is in the room with us. We're like, okay, cool. Like the nurse is going to stay with us to like help us. Like we got a whole room nurse now. Like she's going to be here. She's going to tell us what to do. It's going to be great. She just left. And we were just like, nah. So we just,
excuse me.
We literally said to her like, hey, are you going to stay with us? Like, are you going to come back? And she went, no. And then she was just gone. And then we were just like in the room like, oh.
No.
Oh, so we have a baby now. And
it's not we, it's we.
No, it's not like a collective like and I think that is one of the most mind-blowing experiences where you're just like, oh, so like forever?
This is real.
Yeah, and then they just like wheel you out on the wheelchair, and then they just let you leave with a baby.
With a whole human.
With a 3-day-old
wow.
baby.
I think I don't have kids, so I have not had that experience before, but I'm really fortunate that I know many millennials are not able to buy houses.
Yeah.
But like I'm really fortunate that we were able to buy a house.
Sure.
And I'll never forget like when we closed on our house and they just like gave me the key and just walked away.
They just leave you.
They just left, and I'm like, okay, what now?
Yeah.
And I was like, are you no, this is your house now.
Yeah.
So you're not, no one's coming back.
No one.
All right. And then I'm
That's
just in an
funny that
empty
you
house
say that.
by myself.
Oh my gosh, we had that same experience where like the real estate agent was like, okay, here you go. Bye.
And it's
was like, whoa,
wait,
whoa, 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 whoa,
wait,
whoa.
I need
Like,
an instruction manual.
Does anyone come back to
check on me? Like, what if I need
what do I do
help?
with it? It
Right.
really, actually, wow, that is a very similar experience where
And
you're
it's
just like,
what do I do now?
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Holy crap, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's
or
true.
like any kind of big purchase that I've ever made in my life, whether it be, my laptop or my phone.
Yeah.
Like I remember
Or my student loans. That was a big
I'm
purchase.
really fortunate that like my dad took care of my loans. Avery has loans, but I'm just really fortunate. Shout out to my dad who took care of that for me. But any big purchase I've made in my life, I kind of halfway expected someone to be like, "Are you sure this is a lot of money?" But no one ever does.
I know.
And I'm like, "Wow, you just trust me to."
They just let you do it.
Let me spend all my money,
They
and
just
like
let
no
you do
one.
it. They're
Or like
every
I was
time.
thinking the other day, like adulting is so awesome because my friend Lizzie, she brought over this whole box of cookies.
Yeah.
Okay, there was like 20 cookies in there, and I probably had 10 just that first day. And my husband was like, "Are you eating all those cookies?" I'm an adult woman.
Yeah.
I can eat whatever I want to eat. And like 10 minutes later,
Every
I'm like,
single day.
I was like, Avery, why didn't you make me not eat these cookies? And he's
you-
like, because you're an adult woman.
Yeah, because you chose to eat those cookies. Every single day when my wife says, hey, what do you want for dinner? I go, cookies and candies.
Because we can.
Because I can.
Yeah, because we
I
can.
don't, but I want cookies and candies and treats. And that's what I want for dinner. And I don't.
You know what was actually the hardest thing for me to learn as an adult. And so I know this is gonna rub some people the wrong way.
Go ahead.
But
Can't wait.
It's important to me because like I did cheer for 15 years, and that comes with its own set of body
My wife
image
did cheer
issues.
too.
Heck
Yeah.
I knew I loved her.
Yeah.
I knew I liked her. But that comes with its own set of body image issues and trauma of like self-image, and realizing that I couldn't eat the same way that I did as an 18-year-old really messed with me.
Yeah.
And then also like I've come to learn that there's this thing that when like I don't know if this is the same for guys or not, but as a woman, you kind of like settle into your adult body. And first of all, no one ever told me that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I being 5 feet tall, like I never grew.
Sure.
So in college, I wore some of the same clothes I wore in high school, and I still have pieces that I got in high school or college that I wear because I never grew. Like these pants, I think were maybe the shirt definitely.
Yeah.
But like once I started not being able to fit in those clothes from college, that was so hard for me.
I know.
And literally, like I had this whole existential crisis in my mind of like, what's happening to me? I'm not that old.
I know.
And then I'm like, I am 27.
I know, dude.
And my friends were like, Rebecca, you just don't have the body of a child anymore. And like I really had to they're like, no, you used to be able to pass for a 12-year-old and now you just can't. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like
now you're just a tiny adult woman.
Right. Like that was just very mind-blowing for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Or what they always tell you when you're younger is, oh, do this while you can. Do this while you're young. Like you can sleep later in life. And so you work, and you work yourself to death. But at some point, you do reach a point where you can't do that anymore. And there's people don't warn you when that is. It just kind of happened. And like our friend Nathan, for example, was running himself into the ground and all of a sudden just ended up in the hospital because his body couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And that's such a scary wake-up call of, like, you feel young. Like, I don't feel like I'm a grown adult.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm a child.
Yeah.
And that's such a really scary wake-up call to realize, like, oh.
Yeah, your brain and body don't match.
Right.
That's what therapy's for, where you're just like, you're in therapy and you're just like, okay, so I'm not a child.
No, I still haven't accepted that. I'm a child.
I know. But, my little girl, I hope that she like gets to learn a little bit more from these things, like, and like sort of understands, like, there are little things in life that you can do to make your life easier.
Oh, 100%.
Like turn the pillow around or whatever, and it's just so that it makes it a little bit easier, that transition into adulthood, like a little bit easier. Or she'll just call me all the time, which I won't be mad about.
Yeah, no,
because I love her.
I love that. And my dad loves when I call him for help because like he wants me to be able to feel empowered to do it on my own. But he's like, yeah, you can call me. I like to be he likes to be needed, but he like understands. He likes to be needed, but he understands that I don't always need somebody. Yeah. And I think that's like a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, I never want my daughter to move out or do anything.
Right. She's gonna stay that size forever. What do you mean?
Say a little 1-year-old. I mean, she's already bigger, and I don't like it.
I don't like it. Is there anything other than watching your dialed? I can't talk.
My dialed rode up.
Yes. And other than watching your child get bigger, because we hate that.
Yeah, we hate that.
Is there anything else that like you've come to regret in your adult life? Like anything?
Oh God.
Oh, I'm ready. Oh yeah, got the good stuff.
Anything that I regret in my adult life?
Yeah, like anything that you're like, like as advice to other people listening who like could learn from your mistakes.
Don't drink that much. It does end up hurting after a while.
It does.
I don't know. I think there's a certain amount of like comparing up that isn't needed as much. Like I think I still suffer from this. Like I know how many subscribers you have because I compare myself to you.
Why would you do
all the time?
Sid, you have
but hang on. So that is like I don't want to two out horde. Like I don't compare myself still. But if you can figure out how to deal with it more younger, then like
that shocks
that's
me
a good
because I compare my Instagram to yours.
Oh, content creators be contenting.
I was like you just blew my mind. I was like,
dude.
wait, what?
All the time. That's what content creators do, baby. We always compare ourselves to others.
Yeah. But I feel like that's also kind of like, even though I think we do it more publicly, I think in general people, especially like people our age in our generation, do that across the board. Like I'm watching my friends from high school have all these babies, and I'm like, wow, you're a real responsible adult.
Wow, you figured it out.
That's crazy, man.
No, I think that's the biggest thing of like trying not to do that, or like trying to figure out why someone else is in like a higher position than you.
Yeah.
Especially at work, I think, or like, oh, that's a good one. If there's a side conversation happening at the office, it doesn't matter.
No.
That's probably one of the biggest things that I regret. Like, I was working at an office job before I really blew up, and still trying to make content and everything. But it was just one of those things where it was like, I finally got to a point where I was just like, oh, I don't care if the two of them walk away and one of them is my boss. Like, if it's about me and if it's needed, they'll come to me.
Yeah.
And usually you're not going to get fired.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
You're not going to get fired. It's fine.
It's that overthinking.
Like, you're fine. It's so hard. It's so hard to get fired. It's so hard. That's something my wife taught me. She was like, it's so hard to get fired. Sid, like, what are you worried about? And I think that's a big one. Like, oh my God.
I think it's drilled into us at a young age of like, this sounds so harsh. Not that we're all expendable.
Yeah.
But you like replaceable, like that we're replaceable at work. Like that idea of, well, if you don't work hard, somebody else will and will take your spot. And I think that's drilled.
Yeah. Try to find someone. Try to find someone to do this job.
Yeah. At this point,
that's what it is. It's like, dude, I would love that. Try.
And
like,
I
no one will.
I think that it genuinely is something that people in our generation have to overcome, like this idea, because like we were told that's going to happen, and like having this reality of who else. See, but we say that. But
I think
like,
that comes from the factory days. I think that comes from like, if you don't do your job, you'll get fired, and someone else will take that job, and someone else will do it, and it's just like, nah, not anymore. No one wants this job, Craig. No one wants it. No one wants it. Do you want it? No, you don't. And if I leave, it's gonna suck. Because I know a lot of things.
Did I ever tell you what happened like the day after I quit teaching?
Oh, go ahead.
So, and it's so funny because just kind of speaking of, oh, who's going to replace this kind of thing, like my school system at the time told me, we don't want you monetizing because the bricks on the wall in your background, that technically belongs to the county. Ugh, so you're using county resources to monetize.
So throw up a green screen.
Right. So, well, they're like, you can do whatever you want and record, but you just can't monetize.
That
called my bluff and I left. And the day after my last day, do you want to know how short-staffed we were? There was no adult in my classroom.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah. Like, I had kids sending me Instagram messages that were like, hey, Ms. Rogers, what do we do? And I'm like, that's another thing.
Were they wearing the watermelon hat too?
Most of them, yes. They keep it on 24/7.
That's what
100%.
I thought 100%.
That's another thing, though, thinking of like when admin just like, okay, this is your classroom.
Yep.
Here you go. And it's like, when are you coming back?
Yeah.
You just want me to like teach all these kids?
Like, what do I say?
That's
that
so
must have
scary.
been crazy.
That's scary.
I know.
Like, that's so terrifying.
I think about that now as an adult, where I'm like, I'm just gonna walk into a teacher's classroom. I'm just like, this is your.
You just know what to
like,
do.
This is just crazy.
But like, yeah, literally, kids just wandered out of their room and went to go find administrator, and they were like, "There's no adult in your room."
They didn't know you weren't even there.
Like, I guess they knew that I wasn't
Casey in here. Get Mr. Hamilton in here right now. He'll come in. He'll teach the class.
Well, I think they knew that I was gone, but I don't think they realized that they never put another adult in the room. And, like, that's.
Do you watch Abbott Elementary?
No, but I should. I hear it's really good.
I think they got like the gym teacher into one of the classes. I think something like that happened, and they were just like rotating the teachers.
Oh, they did end up having to get other teachers in, and like they were so unhappy, and so like it became
because they don't have a break now.
Right. They don't have a break, and like whose fault is it? Well, Rebecca's gone, and it just those things always become cycles. Like when teachers.
Wait, so did they fire you because you were?
Oh, I didn't get fired.
Oh, you just left.
No.
Oh, okay.
Literally, I'm so proud of myself. I had the most like BA exit ever. First of all, we had like 4 or 5 like TikTok teachers in our county.
Mm-hmm.
One was at my school, like my very good friend Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
And Brenda even had a run-in with like a parent who was convinced that Brenda was making content about her daughter, and she was not.
Sure.
And like had to meet with HR about it. And our principal was literally like, you're fine as long as you're not making content during school hours. You can record whatever you want in your classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that was told to Brenda. And there was another gym teacher down the road who was making content in the gym. And there was another elementary school teacher further down the road that was doing it. Like there was a bunch of us.
Did you all get together and you were like, we know it's fine?
Well, me and Brenda were always very close. Mm-hmm. So like I knew what he told her, and we saw what the other teachers were posting, and we're like, oh, this is fine. Well, my principal basically, like, I would put my foot down with him a lot. I kind of was a doormat for a while, and then I ended up putting my foot down with, like, extra stuff that he was trying to pile on.
Good. Or
things that, like, he would ask me to do things, and then it wouldn't go well, and he's like, why'd you do that? I don't remember telling you to do that. Like, that happened a lot.
That sucks. I'm glad you stood up for yourself,
right,
though.
I did, but he hated it. Yeah. Like, his words to us, that he would say this at every staff meeting. I'm not a tow truck. If you get yourself in a ditch, it's not going to be me that gets you out. Like that kind of leader. Really poor leader.
Tight.
So I started putting my foot down. He did not like it. And then all of a sudden, like HR asked to meet with me, and they're like, you just can't monetize your content because that wall in the background is county property.
That's
so like you're using county resources to make money. And I was like, I don't understand, because there's not only are there 4 other content creators doing this in their rooms, but like we have 3,000 teacher vacancies in our county. Literally, there are elementary school kids that aren't able to get home until 6 p.m. because we are so short-staffed with bus drivers. Like, why does this matter? Mm-hmm. Like, why are we talking about this right now? Mm-hmm. And they said that my principal contacted them and asked them to tell me I couldn't monetize anymore. And so I literally said, oh, okay. Well, I have one more question, and then I'll be done with this meeting. Notice for quitting, is that 30 days or 2 weeks? And he kinda stuttered, and he's like, well, you can still do whatever content you want. You just can't monetize it. And I wasn't even monetized at the time. Mm-hmm. Like I literally didn't even reach monetization for YouTube yet. Mm-hmm. They just assumed that because there were ads on YouTube that I was making money. Sure. Like I wasn't even monetizing.
Sure.
And I was like, no, I asked you a question. Like, is it 2 weeks or 30 days? And he said, well, it's 30 days. I said, okay, cool, thanks. This is day 1. And I hung up.
Nice.
And that is how I left teaching.
Hell yeah.
I felt really good about it. And then I called
badass.
Ben.
That's badass.
I called Ben and I was like, Ben, I did it.
Yeah. I'm sure he was stoked.
Oh, he was so proud.
Yeah.
He won't admit it, but he was.
I mean, he's a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
He's always proud of us.
He really is. He won't admit it, but he is in his heart. But I feel like that. But I'm really proud of our generation especially the younger generation, like right below us, because I'm right on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z.
Cuspy.
Yes, I'm a cuspy. And I really like the new kind of idea of work-life balance that is coming along in the adult world. Mm-hmm. Like, working your wage, like all the little slogans that they come up for it. But in reality, I think it's very healthy to understand that, a lot of these places that you work, if something were to happen to you, like if you were to get, heaven forbid, run over by a bus, a lot of these places would post your job opening before your obituary. And I think that, my biggest life hack or life advice that I would give to anyone is really understanding that your well-being, your life, your family, like those are the things that really do matter. Yeah. Your job will be there tomorrow.
Your job's fine.
Your job's fine.
And that kind of goes to the thing that I was talking about. Like they're not going, like they don't care about you so much
Right.
that they don't even think about you.
Exactly.
You're not going to get fired.
Exactly. They don't think about you, and like
everyone's thinking about themselves.
Your loved ones are what's irreplaceable.
Yeah,
you know? Like if.
That's why my family's here with me now.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't want to.
You don't want to be away from your daughter.
I don't want to do.
And that's so cute. That's
just like,
so
just come with me.
sweet.
I don't know. And I think
feel that.
I think that it's more exciting to like travel around. We've never been to Baltimore together. I think that's pretty cool. But I'm excited to be here. But it's like, but yeah, I think that definitely like those moments of like, I can't remember who it is, but it's like, it's not that millennials don't want to stop working. It's just that they don't want to be exploited.
Yes. Yeah, you always hear older generations like, oh, well, no one wants to work anymore.
It's like, no, we just don't want to be exploited.
Exactly.
Like, I know, well, like, the other thing is that, like, we see how much money they're making.
Mm-hmm.
We know how much money you're making. So why are we getting, why can't we afford food?
Right.
So that
well, or you always think, well, if millennials would just stop buying coffee or getting a Netflix.
You posted, I remember you posted a couple times about that.
I got so much from that.
Yes, dude.
So many people were so angry. They're
so
like,
mad.
if you would stop getting Netflix and food, like ordering food or going out or getting coffee, then, you know, it's all the little frivolous expenses. But what people are failing to realize is that these small little expenses, first of all, yes, they add up, but they don't add up to the amount that a house costs.
Right.
Then I can't, not only that, but they're like, well, there's a few different things. They don't add up to the point of what like a house costs.
Yeah.
And if those little expenses that again don't amount to what a house and a down payment would be are bringing you joy, why would you forego those to still not be able to buy a house?
Yeah, and if your credit's bad, then you'll not be able to buy a house.
Exactly. So, like, you know, if you pay, like, get that Netflix subscription and just pay it off on time and let your credit go up.
Yeah.
But on top of that, whenever I talk online about, again, I'm very fortunate that I have been able to buy a house. Mm-hmm. And it's really annoying when people are like, why do you care? You have a house. Well, I can have a house and still be very concerned for my friends and family and community that are struggling to buy a house. And people are like, well, it's not that hard. You can put 0% down or you can do X, Y, Z and it's so much easier. But all of these programs that exist, yes, they do exist, but they're not always for everyone.
They're predatory.
And they really... Sometimes I really hope you do have a perfect story with it and it works out, but there are so many people who it makes it that much harder and it puts them in that much more financial struggle and financial strain. And like some of these programs really hurt more than they help.
100%.
Like saying that you own a house is not worth barely being able to put food on the table just because this one program said you could put 0% down.
Yeah.
Like what you'll be paying in the long run is like 2 or 3 of those houses, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like it just, it's so frustrating when people are obviously trying to validate adults for just like, hey, it's okay to struggle. You're not alone. Yeah. We love you. And for some reason, so many people find that offensive and are like, no. They suck.
Yeah.
People who can't do everything in the world are the worst. And it's like, my guy, who peed in your Cheerios?
But that's why I love making the videos I do, because I am admitting that I don't know how to use a can opener.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like...
I love that.
And everyone's just like, what the f***?
Right. So, I love being able to admit that, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I can't say that enough.
Yeah.
I can't yell it enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But are there any last thoughts that you would want to leave our listeners with in regards to life advice, I really can't sleep. I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Life hacks, life advice. Adulting is hard.
I would say you're doing great, sweetie.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that there isn't any direct timeline for anything.
Yes, 100%.
I think that's a big one, and it's gonna take what it takes. But also, like, you're not doing anything wrong necessarily. Like, I think just steady as she goes is the biggest method. I think, like, if I've learned anything, it's just like, just keep doing it. Seth, who was it? Seth, I don't know, but there was someone like, if you stop doing it, it'll fail. So if you just live your dream, keep doing it, and don't stop, then maybe you won't be the most successful, huge, amazing person, but like you'll still be doing the thing you love.
I love that.
So maybe you'll get better, and then maybe something will happen. So there's that. Yeah.
To add to that, I want to add that, not only is there no timeline for when you should find the job of your dreams, when you should find the relationship of your dreams, when you should get married, have kids, whatever, but like your best is enough.
Yeah.
Trying your best will look different from person to person.
Yeah.
And just because your best doesn't match Susie over there or Jimmy doesn't make you any better or less, your best is
unless it's Jimmy, Mr. Beast, which like that doesn't count.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
He doesn't count.
Yeah. No, he doesn't
Never
count.
compare yourself to Mr. Beast. That doesn't count, okay? That doesn't count.
Now I can never use that name as
know.
like an example again. I didn't even think about that. Bless.
Oh boy.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thank you so
Sid.
much for having me again.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let's go hang out with your daughter.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye, my lovelies.